Let's get right into it. Wood frogs freeze solid. Imagine stepping outside in winter and freezing so completely that your heart stops beating. Sounds like the end, right? For the wood frog, it's just another season. As temperatures plunge, up to 70% of its body can freeze, and even its breathing comes to a complete halt. By every visible sign, the frog appears lifeless. Wait, what? That's exactly what makes this tiny amphibian one of nature's most unbelievable survivors. But here's the incredible part. As spring finally warms the forest, the ice inside its body slowly melts. Its heart begins beating again, and the frog simply hops away as if nothing ever happened. It survives because special compounds, including large amounts of glucose, help protect its cells from freezing damage. Think about that for a second. While most animals would never recover, the wood frog turns freezing into a remarkable survival strategy. Reindeer change eye color. Imagine living through months of near-total darkness and your eyes deciding to change color to survive it. That's exactly what happens to reindeer. During the bright Arctic summer, their eyes appear golden. But when winter arrives and daylight almost disappears, the eyes gradually turn a deep, shimmering blue. Believe it or not, the change is caused by a layer inside the eye called the tapetum lucidum, which reflects light back through the retina. Here's the amazing part. The blue winter version helps scatter and trap more of the faint light available in the Arctic, making it easier for reindeer to detect movement in dim conditions. Think about that for a second. The same animal sees the world through two different eye colors depending on the season. Nature didn't give reindeer night vision goggles. It gave them eyes that reconfigured themselves for the polar winter. Vampire bats share blood. Imagine surviving on a diet where missing just one meal could mean death. That's everyday life for vampire bats. But here's something even stranger. When one bat returns hungry after an unsuccessful night, another may actually share its meal by regurgitating blood. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet this isn't random kindness. These bats remember which companions have helped them before, and they're far more likely to return the favor. Think about that for a second. A tiny mammal with a brain no bigger than a walnut can recognize trusted partners and build long-term social bonds. Scientists have observed these food-sharing relationships lasting for years, helping bats survive when hunting fails. In a world where every drop of food matters, generosity isn't just compassion. It's a survival strategy that keeps an entire community alive. Spiders protect tiny frogs. Picture walking into a spider's home and finding a tiny frog living there completely unharmed. Sounds like the beginning of a strange fairy tale, doesn't it? But in the rainforest, this unlikely friendship is real. Certain small frogs share the same shelter as large spiders, hopping freely around their webs without becoming dinner. Wait, what? Instead of attacking the frog, the spider lets its little guest stay for a very practical reason. Here's where things get fascinating. The frog feeds on ants and other tiny insects that would happily eat the spider's eggs. In return, the spider provides protection from predators that might otherwise snatch the frog. It's a partnership where both animals benefit without ever making a deal. Think about that for a second. One is a hunter. The other could easily become prey. Yet nature found a way to turn two unlikely neighbors into teammates. Lyrebirds mimic any sound. You might expect a bird to copy another bird's song. But what if it started sounding exactly like a chainsaw or a camera shutter instead? Meet the lyrebird, one of the greatest vocal mimics on Earth. Its voice is so astonishingly accurate that people have mistaken its calls for real machines echoing through the forest. Believe it or not, a single lyrebird can learn and reproduce dozens of completely different sounds it hears in its environment. But here's the truly mind-bending part. These birds don't just repeat noises randomly. Males often weave their incredible imitations into elaborate courtship displays to impress females, mixing natural calls with human-made sounds if they've learned them. Think about that for a second. A wild bird can perform a soundscape so convincing that your ears may trust it more than your eyes. Nature really does have its own master impressionist. Hairy frogs grow bone claws. Imagine being so desperate to survive that you willingly break your own bones just to fight back. Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly what the hairy frog does. When threatened, this unusual amphibian forces the bones in its toes through its own skin, creating sharp, claw-like weapons almost instantly. Wait, what? Unlike cats or bears, these claws aren't made of keratin. They're actual bone emerging from inside the frog's body. Here's where it gets even stranger. Scientists believe the claws retract only after the bones slide back into place and the damaged skin heals. It's one of the most bizarre defense mechanisms ever discovered in a vertebrate. Think about that for a second. While most animals escape danger by running or hiding, the hairy frog literally injures itself to become more dangerous. Nature doesn't always choose the painless solution. It chooses the one that works. Caterpillars wear insect armor. Most caterpillars hide by blending into leaves, but some take camouflage to a whole new level. Instead of relying on color alone, they collect the remains of dead insects and carefully attach them to their backs like living armor. Sounds unsettling, right? But this bizarre disguise can fool hungry predators into overlooking them completely. At first glance, they don't even look like an easy meal. They look like bits of lifeless debris. And that's where things get fascinating. These caterpillars don't build their camouflage by accident. They deliberately decorate themselves with insect parts, creating a moving disguise that helps them survive in a dangerous world. Think about that for a second. While other animals run, hide, or fight, these tiny creatures simply convince predators they're not worth noticing at all. Sometimes the smartest defense is in strength. It's becoming something no one wants to eat. Emperor penguins protect eggs. Imagine standing in freezing Antarctic winds for more than 2 months without eating a single meal. Sounds impossible, right? Yet that's exactly what male emperor penguins do every breeding season. After the female lays a single egg, she heads to the ocean to feed while the male carefully balances the egg on top of his feet, covering it with a warm brood pouch. If the egg touches the ice for even a short time, the freezing temperatures can be fatal. Here's the incredible part. Throughout this entire incubation period, the father barely moves, enduring brutal winter storms while living entirely off stored body fat. Only when the female returns with food does he finally hand over the chick and make his own journey to the sea. Think about that for a second. One of the harshest places on Earth depends on one of nature's most devoted fathers to keep the next generation alive. Shoebills hunt without moving. Imagine staring at the same spot for an entire hour without taking a single step. Most animals would give up long before that. But the shoebill stork does the exact opposite. This massive African bird can stand perfectly motionless beside swamps, showing almost no sign of life as fish swim closer and closer. Sounds like a terrible hunting strategy, right? That's exactly what makes it so effective. Then, in a fraction of a second, everything changes. The shoebill explodes into action, lunging forward with its enormous shoe-shaped bill and grabbing prey before it has a chance to react. It often hunts lungfish, catfish, and even young crocodiles hiding in shallow water. Think about that for a second. While many predators rely on speed or endless chasing, the shoebill wins by doing almost nothing at all until the perfect moment arrives. Secretary birds stomp snakes. Imagine facing a venomous snake. Without fangs, venom, or even sharp claws, most birds would fly away. But the secretary bird does something completely different. Standing over 1.2 meters, 4 feet tall on long, powerful legs, it walks straight toward dangerous snakes and attacks with lightning-fast kicks. Sounds reckless, right? Yet this remarkable hunter has evolved to fight one of nature's most feared predators on the ground. Here's the astonishing part. A secretary bird strike is so fast and forceful that it can knock down or seriously injure a snake before it has time to bite. After pinning its prey, the bird finishes the hunt with its sharp beak. Think about that for a second. While eagles dominate the skies, the secretary bird rules the grasslands by turning its legs into precision weapons. Nature didn't give it venom. It gave it the perfect kick. Until we meet again,